Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the AFL NT coverage of the 2022-23 TIO NTFL season from TIO Stadium here in Darwin on Larrakia country. We're here for round 4 action of the NTFL Women's Premier League competition. This evening, St Mary's are taking on Wanderers. My name is Nick Danks and my commentary partner this afternoon, Ian Butterworth. How are you, Ian?
Look, I'm well, Nick, and the two teams that we've got, as you mentioned, St Mary's and Wanderers, winless, both of them.
Yes.
So they're fighting for last position.
Tiwi Bombers create a big piece of history in the Women's Premier League when they beat the 6-time Premiers St Mary's by 48 points at Gardens Oval last week. So it was great for the Tiwi Islanders, for the women's girls, but tough one for St Mary's last week.
Look, it was, and they're bemoaning the fact that the Tiwi Bombers women have got a number of players that have actually been brought up with St Mary's, and it was the same with the men. When the Bombers men came into the competition, they lost a few players, but St Mary's have been blessed over a long period of time. I mean, the Longs, the Duns, the Riolis, just to name 3 families that have sort of are Tiwi Islanders that have actually graced the field for St Mary's, and multiple premiership players. So, you know, one can feel sorry, but that's the way of the world, isn't it?
Absolutely. Went over with Mary Dunn last year when the team first got welcomed to the league with the ladies, and they believe that they trained with a buffalo on the island over there as well for training, so that would keep them going. The Wanderers, though, they ran into a very impressive Darwin Buffettes in round 1 as well, so that was a scary day for Wanderers that day. Yeah,
look, Buffettes have been they're almost not the perennial premiers, but they've been very strong. Them and the Buffettes and Pint. I mean, it's early stages, but I think that St Mary's and Wanderers have both got something to play for, because no one wants to finish. Someone's got to finish last, but they don't want to finish last in the competition. The competition is only it's not quite 4 rounds old.
Yep.
But the winner will just jump off the bottom of the ladder.
Absolutely. The one thing I have noticed over the last couple of years of watching the Women's Premier League is the standard is getting better and better as well. I saw the Nightcliff girls play a couple of weeks ago, and it was a pretty high standard.
Look, you're quite right, Nick. And when it started, it wasn't all that flash. But and I saw Pint last week, I think it was, or the week before, and they're awesome.
Yep.
Under Rick Nolan, the coach, he's a premiership winning coach in the men's competition, of course, and premiership player in the men's competition, has taken over the women and is relishing the role, and he's got those Pointers going well. But it's not about the Pointers, it's about the Muck-Mucks, Wanderers, and about St Mary's.
And quickly, a couple of games in the men's NTFL round already finished this week. Last night at Gardens Oval, Waratah started off very strongly in the first quarter, held on, Palmerston fought back, but Waratah got away with a 7-point win last night at Gardens.
Yeah, watched that game, and in fact did a commentary on that game, and it looked like Waratah by how much at quarter time.
Yep.
But to their credit, Palmerston did come back, as you mentioned and alluded to, but it just seemed the feeling, and it's, you know, hindsight's a marvellous thing, but Waratah kind of had it in their control.
You would think so. I did the ground here 2 weeks ago when it rained and the game was stopped just before at the end of the game, and Palmerston did that night. They were behind Pint, but they came through. Other one quickly before this game starts, Darwin Mazda Nightcliff Oval. The Tigers defeated the Bombers by 95 points. It's going to be a long season unless something happens different there.
It's a bit unfortunate, but again, that's the way of the world, and we've got the game about to get underway, and it'll be Meg D'Souza in ruck for Wanderers, and looking forward very much to this game. The field umpire are ready to toss the ball in the air. Does that. Up they go. St Mary's knock the ball down. Wanderers, will they get the clearance? But they're just pushing, unfortunately, in their opposite direction. Kick off the ground. Cleverly done by St Mary's. St Mary's going to the airport end here at beautiful Marara. Wanderers have to work hard in defence. St Mary's to keep the ball into their half-forward line. Hannah Fosbrook, a good player, probably needs a haircut at some stage, because she might get the back of her hair caught in her boots when it gets a little bit wet. But Wanderers between full-back and centre-half-back. So a positive start. Wanderers kick the ball forward. No mark played on the outside wing going to the scoreboard side. Kicking to the McMillan's Road end, and that's Hannah Fosbrook again for St Mary's. She started the game off quite nicely with a couple of pretty strong possessions. The kicking, not all that flash, Nick. Probably that's the one thing the women's game lacks, is just a little bit of depth in the kicking. Yeah, the ground's in fabulous condition as always. We've been around earlier in the week, but it's held up really well, this ground. Field umpires just quickly, Cheryl Shimone and Aaron McWilliams are the field umpires today. Boundaries, Oliver Chapman and Jessica Stewart. Ball tossed up at left half forward for St Mary's, and St Mary's kicked the ball out of bounds, and that will be a last touch, and Wanderers to get the chance to clear at right half back. Long, long way to goal. Wanderers.
Setup was pretty good though.
Yep. They'll continue down a drop mark by Wanderers, and that player was Ivana Shoba. She's one of the captains of Wanderers. Rangy girl. And the ball out of bounds under the scoreboard. Well, it's not quite under the scoreboard, under the old scoreboard. No score on the board, and we've travelled about a minute into the first term. Ball tossed in by the boundary umpire. Take two. Ball went straight up in the air. M. McNeil in ruck for St Mary's, knocks the ball down. St Mary's in their half forward line. On the ground, knocks the ball out cleverly, well done. Kick off the ground, not 15. Play on, called the umpire correctly so. Ball kicked into the middle of the ground and the mark taken by Wanderers. Quick play on onto the left foot, goes to centre half forward with the defence now. The first time that St Mary's defence have had to do a little bit of work. A nice handball out, but it left it at centre half forward. Wanderers with the football onto the left foot. Clearly has not a left foot kick. That didn't go all that well. That's Jacinta Friel. Picked the ball up, and we haven't got that's Lei Yi Chow hit the post, and Wanderers' first score on the board. They've got the minor score, and we're about a minute or 2 minutes into the first term.
Quickly out of the goal square there, but it was a nice pick up though by the young girl.
Certainly was, and now Wanderers on St Mary's on to the boot. And a nice mark taken by Wanderers. Wanderers have sort of shaped up pretty well. That's Ivana Shoba. She goes out to a teammate in Olympia Mulaney, and her handball picks up Sakane Desage, and it's Desage to kick the ball to the top of the square for Wanderers. Wanderers going to the McMillan's Road end at Marara. St Mary's with some hard work to do. The kick off the ground, cleverly done, push and a shove. St Mary's wrapped up, and I reckon that'll be, give it to me, said the field umpire will say, and they will, but it's about in the left forward pocket for Wanderers. So Wanderers looking okay.
Yeah, they're playing very well in this early part of the first quarter.
Up in the ruck, defence, fresh air shot by St Mary's in defence. They've just got to start to work and get some rhythm into the game. Everything starts all of a sudden, and not much rhythm going now. And there's that one again, Nikita Keeney, but they're kicked back in by Wanderers to full forward. Grabbed hold of the football, threw it away, and play on Lei Yi Chow. Another kick off the ground. Wanderers working hard, but the St Mary's defence, not 15. The umpire called play on. Meg D'Souza had a couple of telling touches. Nice defence there by St Mary's. Takesha Doherty-Cole. Ball wrapped up. Centre half back. Emily Forshaw kicks the ball into the centre circle. Nice running game there by Billy Byers. Byers mucked it up. She did very well. Wanderers have the footy. Probably holding the ball, I reckon, Nick.
Absolutely. Dive pick up though from Byers in the centre there. That was a lovely bit of football. It's a shame she couldn't get someone leading up for a mark.
Looks like it was a high tackle. High tackle paid. Paige Holt for Wanderers. Goes wide. Lei Yi Chow, once again, she's had plenty of it early in the first term. St Mary's, that should be the ball, but no, it's picked up again by Wanderers. Wanderers favouring the outer here at Marara, and the ball will go out of bounds. It'll be the last touch, and St Mary's will take the free kick, and Michelle Friel. Mishi Friel.
Lei Yi Chow has had a couple of touches early. Used to play for Canberra in the Australian National University League. A couple of games last year at the end of the season for Wanderers, but carried on this year. Okay,
Friel turns the ball over. Wanderers run their full measure, runs to the top of the 50. Looking up there in the forward line for Nikita Kearney. She knocks the ball out. Ferocious pressure by the Wanderers forward, keeping the ball in their forward half, inside their attacking zone. Kick off the ground. Pretty useful tactic here at Marara. Wanderers inside forward 50 once again, and the dash coming out St Mary's. They clear 50 metres into the centre of the ground. Now a little bit of pace needed. Running hard at the football is J.D. Delacour. Delacour still going, head over the football, centre half forward, tackled off the ball, knocks the ball back as Delacour. Delacour under a lot of pressure. She's got about 4 players to beat, and unfortunately 4 against 1. The 4 will turn out, and Wanderers will handball their way out of trouble. Again, the kick off the ground. Maybe there's just some soccer players out there, Nick. But St Mary's have got it inside their forward 50. Open goal square. The pace here of Wanderers in front. St Mary's run around the back, trying to pick the football up. There's some help. Pick the ball up. Kick on goal. Came off the inside of the boot. No score. And that was JD Delacour once again. So Delacour has been in the action in the forward line for St Mary's. Cleared by Wanderers. And a lovely mark. Beautiful mark taken by Lei Lee Chow. She's had a bit of it.
Had a fair bit in this first quarter. And at both ends of the ground.
Chow kicks the ball out, not too much avail because Takesha Doherty-Cole for St Mary's between wing and half forward. Scoreboard side, runs around onto the right boot. Inside forward 50 for St Mary's. Ball on the ground, in dispute. Handball out, good handball. Kick from 55, a scrubber, terrible kick. Picked up by St Mary's. I think that might have been touched off the boot. No score anyway. Now again a little bit of pace required, but the St Mary's big, strong, tough fullback, she's get the football, but might have got rid of the ball incorrectly.
Yep, I think she's paid hold on the ball there.
And she's got the wrong angle, surely, that field umpire.
You would think so.
Got to be anyway. That's
oh yeah, she's moved around. She heard you then, Ian. No.
Wrong one. So the person with the ball, JD Delacour. She's hit the ground running for St Mary's. She's in the right forward pocket. She is a right footer. She's going to have to go for the check side. Kicks it and misses. So we've got a point each. And we're 7.5 minutes into the first term.
Hit the post there, of course. You said it, right footer there wasn't on the right spot for her. Umpire pushed around on the boundary, and that was always going to happen, I think.
Ball brought in. Mark taken by Ivana Shoda. Shoda, nice little kick. Drop mark. She threw that away, but back to Shoda. Inside defensive 50 Wanderers. St Mary's have got the ball in their forward half. Just not quite sure what's going on here, but it might have been a high tackle, and Wanderers will get a chance to clear. Grandstand side, inside defensive 50. Short kick. Working the way out. Longer kick this time into the centre of the ground, not quite in the corridor. St Mary's leading the chase of the football. Nice handball to advantage. Another handball to advantage. St Mary's using the ball quite nicely. Kicks inside 50. Big bump. St Mary's running into an open goal. Kicks on goal and misses everything. And that is Rosalind Starr. Ball still rolling. And it might have just gone out of bounds. No, it hasn't. It's been picked up by Wanderers, and they will clear their defensive 50. Wanderers, again, they seem to favour the scoreboard side. Picked up Wanderers player out there on the wing is Huaya Harira. She kicks the ball to her own advantage. Dropped the ball there red hot, but play on called the umpire. I shouldn't be umpiring this game. I'm doing the commentary. St Mary's Takesha Doherty-Cole. She's had a bit of it out on the wing. St Mary's pick up the footy once again. Kicked inside, just inside forward 50, and a nice mark taken. Wanderers. Ivana Shoba runs her full measure. Kicks to the wing, and the rangy St Mary's player, a nice overhead mark. Contested mark. Kicks inside forward 50. And a lovely handball to advantage. A bounce running into an open goal. St Mary's will surely run into an open goal and kick. Does she kick truly? She does kick truly. And that is Emily Forshaw, and she's got the first goal of the game. One of the co-captains for St Mary's. So St Mary's, they're on the board. 1-1-7 leading Wanderers, one behind. 9.5 minutes into the first term. Yeah,
consistent hard ball getter Emily Forshaw. She came from Eastern Melbourne, played in the EFL there as well. The game's a bit stop and start through the middle here. Wanderers are struggling to get it across into their 50. I think they've got about there once, when of course they got the point. But St Mary's at the moment running a little bit harder across the ground, and as you said, they're favouring one wing Wanderers in the early part of this first quarter.
Seems to be the strategy that they've adopted, and who's to say that they're not correct? It's early days, 10 minutes into the first term.
I'd be playing on this side, Ian, in my days because of the shade, but that's just...
Indeed. Ball ready to be tossed up by the field umpire. It is. Up they go. St Mary's win once again, and that's Billy Byers, and she's won a couple of the hit-outs. Well, there's only been 2 hit-outs, and she's won them both. But Wanderers, the recipients, they got the clearance. Bad mark dropped there in the forward line by Wanderers. St Mary's now need to clear. Kick off the ground once again. They're using that to their advantage. Jacinta Friel, a couple of Friels out there, and St Mary's once again. The handball was knocked off. Beautifully done. Wanderers go by hand once again, running around to their advantage. But Michelle, that is Jasmine forward. But the St Mary's defence just seem to have the edge.
Yep, that's just where they're falling over. Just that inside the 50 mark there. Here comes St Mary's again, though.
Yeah, and this is Emily Forshaw, the goal kicker. Kicks the ball up to centre half forward. Fight for the football. Forshaw once again. She's a busy player. She looks a tough player. The goal scorer for St Mary's, the co-captain, kicks it to the top of the square. A couple of St Mary's players there, but some good defence. Well done there by Hawaii Harira. But it is also another goal, and trying to pick up that player at St Mary's. They go to 2 goals, 1 to Wanderers, 1 behind.
I think it was Laura Motlop who got that. I'm just waiting for her to turn around. She's got a long walk into the boundary line there. We're just trying to work out who she is. I'm pretty sure it was Laura Motlop, that number 6. But she's gone to set off the ground now, so I can't see a colour from there.
Yeah, it was a St Mary's goal.
Yep, you're right, Ian. Wrong list I was looking at. But yeah, she's gone over the side off the ground there for a while. I'm not sure if she's fine, the young girl. No, she's coming back on now. Yep. Oh no.
Well, it's taken forever for the field umpire. He's had the football, and it's taken forever for him to toss the ball up. He does that now. Wanderers seem to get first purchase, a free kick and a warranted free kick, and Wanderers will get the clearance from Jasmine forward.
I think they're waiting then for that young girl to come back onto the ground who walked off behind the goals. So,
oh, okay.
Yep.
Forward, kicks it forward. Wanderers at half forward, kicks further forward. Wanderers, well done. Bit of dash shown there by Shakeen Desage. There's a couple of Desages. That's Shakeen Desage. Should have kicked the ball off the ground. It's a high tackle. No free kick. Play on called the umpire. Some strong defensive work by Wanderers, by St Mary's, and the ball will be tossed in by the boundary umpire. Inside forward 50. Between the arcs, its last touch. Inside, we get the boundary umpire to do the work. Nikita Kearney. St Mary's through Kalisha Ross. Kicks the ball forward. On her own is Tashara Davin.
Nice turn.
It was. Davin kicks the ball to the top of the square, over the back, waiting St Mary's. Got to clear the football. Won't be 15. Play on called the umpire, and correctly so. Wanderers head over the football. She actually bumped into the St Mary's defender there. St Mary's will clear, and clear nicely through Jai Lee. Weatherall fits, and Weatherall fits, kicks it forward, looking for a teammate, Takesha Doherty Cole. Doherty Cole, 1 bounce that came back the second time. Doherty Cole, 2 bounces, runs inside forward 50. Doherty Cole to kick on goal, and misses to the left.
Nice run, though. A couple of bounces, of course. Very lucky to get the first one back, but looked pretty in control from there. It probably could have taken another couple of steps.
Yeah, probably no voice from teammates there.
Absolutely.
So Wanderers to bring the ball back. 2-2-14 to 1 behind. Coming up to 15 minutes into the first term. Ball kicked in. St Mary by Wanderers. St Mary's will drag the ball in. No attempt there to knock the ball out. But the field umpire said, give it to me. And Jai Lee Weatherall fits, gets up, and Julie passes the ball to the field umpire. But still inside forward 50 for St Mary's, going to the airport end here at Marara. Field umpire tosses the ball up. M. McNeil for St Mary's in ruck. Nose over the football. Wanderers worked the ball out of defence. Kicked it with the knee, but that was legitimate. Picked up, there's the tough one, Emily Forshaw, the goal kicker. Forshaw gets it out to a teammate. A fresh air shot, and St Mary's trying to work the ball hard inside the midfield. We've got a free kick paid off the ball, and it'll be Wanderers just backward of the centre. Kicks the ball into the centre of the ground. She was dispossessed. Michelle Friel, better known as a basketballer here in Darwin, but running after the ball hard was Virginia Cardona, and Cardona knocks the ball out, and it is quarter time. St Mary's with the slight advantage. St Mary's will be 2-2-14, Wanderers 1 behind. Goal kickers for St Mary's, Emily Forshaw and M. McNeil, and there it is, quarter time. It is St Mary's by 13 points.
And we're back at TIO Stadium here after this short break for the Wanderers versus St Mary's.
To the left of your radio they go.
Wow, what a goal to start the game.
Beautiful. Goes for home and it's nailed an absolute ripstormer. From the pocket and he's kicked an absolute ripper.
We're back for round 4 action in the TIO NTFL Women's Premier League competition, St Mary's versus Wanderers. I'm Nick Danks, my commentary partner this afternoon, Ian Butworth. Ian, a strong first quarter for St Mary's. They're kicking with a strong breeze, as we noticed at quarter time, 13 points up.
Yeah, they were, and I think that they led the way. Emily Forshaw, JD Delacour and Takesha Doherty-Cole were terrific for St Mary's through that midfield, and I think that Wanderers were pretty well served by Lei Yi Chow, Ivana Shoba and Jasmine Forward. So some standout players early, but you're quite right, St Mary's, whether it was the breeze or whether their system just seemed to be a little bit better, Wanderers tended to play on the outer wing, whereas St Mary's looked for more options and had a freer flow forward.
Absolutely. On the far wing is where Wanderers play most of their footy, where the corridor is where St Mary's use theirs. Lots of kicks off the ground, as you mentioned. They've got a couple of soccer players out there because they did control that pretty well. But they had a lot more opportunity to score. Wanderers only went forward a couple of times, picking up a single point. Probably had a couple of other opportunities, but St Mary's looked pretty much in control in that first quarter.
They did indeed. It was the strong midfield of St Mary's in ruck. Em McNeil for St Mary's, the tall, rangy number 6. Tossed up by the field umpire. McNeil won it comfortably. The ball cleared by St Mary's. They've gone forward, up to centre half forward. Some big strong defence by Maddie Whitehead for Wanderers. Back in the middle of the ground. Nice handball out, nice clearance. Wanderers go forward this time. The defence. And there she is again, the mighty Emily Forshaw. She's playing everywhere, a little bit forward, a little bit midfield, down back that time. She picks up a teammate, Gemma Onako. She goes forward. Wanderers, handball out to an opponent. Picked up Zoe McDowell. McDowell inside forward 50. Wanderers defence got to work hard. Again, a kick off the ground. I think you're quite right. There seems to be a little bit of soccer tactics in there, and there's nothing wrong with the soccer tactics. Ayakono has the football, gets to a teammate, running her full measure. Takesha Doherty-Cole kicks almost to the top of the square, over the back. Anyone got some pace? Everyone's leaving it for everyone else. Running through, picked up. Nice handball in, and a terrible, no, it wasn't. After all, it was a goal. Takesha Doherty-Cole gets the first goal of the second term, and St Mary's go further ahead, 3-2-20. Wanderers 1 behind.
It had a swerve on it, didn't it?
It did indeed.
I thought she'd kicked it far right, and it just turned at the last moment of the air.
A nice Shane Warne leg break.
Absolutely.
In that sense.
Yeah, it would have had me full. I would have been playing the wrong side of that ball. But yeah, no, it did look like it was going to miss, but it came back. We can't see on the breeze because it's going the other way, but that's the score of St Mary's. And again, they're looking good, pushing the ball forward at all costs, and Wanderers are just not coping with that movement of always the ball going forward.
Takesha Doherty-Cole it was that got that ball. Emma McNeil in the ruck for St Mary's. McNeil won it comfortably. Handball out. Once again, that's that system. Nick goes to centre half forward. Some work by the defence of Wanderers. Got to be on top. Strong drive forward by Ivana Shoba, who's been very strong for Wanderers in their defence. But the free kick has been picked out, and it'll go to Jacinta Friel. Friel almost mucked it up, but St Mary's inside their forward 50 once again, just pushed under the football, and the field umpire thought that was perhaps it took her out of the contest, and it'll be St Mary's to take the free kick. Nikita Long, now there's a name for St Mary's. Long, I suppose. Well, I'm assuming she is part of the Long dynasty.
Yes. Yeah, I think that ball was well over her head. I know it's when we can't be umpires and it's umpire round, but benefit of the doubt there for her. Let's see how she goes with this shot.
So she's directly in front. Will have to kick from about 30, so she'll be on her distance. Nikita Long kicks and kicks nicely. Pretty good off the boot, but certainly didn't make the distance. But picking it up and having a shot on goal, and another goal to St Mary's. So that was fortune favoured the person on the ground there, and she's just gone out of our vision. But it was a nice pick-up and a nice goal to St Mary's, and they were just actually creaming this game. 4-2-26, Wanderers 1 behind, and we are 3.5 minutes into the second term. So St Mary's and Wanderers both teams haven't won a game so far this season. It is early days, but Saints have got the score on the board early.
Absolutely, and again, continue that ball straight out of the ruck, straight down the middle. They've got a really nice system going on there with the win the ruck, and it's 2 or 3 times they've done that. See if they do it again. Nope.
No, they didn't, because that was a 0-0 draw in the ruck contest there, but picked up by St Mary's Jacinta Friel. She somehow wobbled the ball forward. The Wanderers defence got to be on top here. Picked up by St Mary's and kicked forward. That was Mia Briadis. Couple to beat. She gets the ball out. If she kicks well, and she doesn't kick well, and that was a poor miss there by Gemma Ikono. And a minor score. So St Mary's 4-3-27. Wanderers 1. What have Wanderers got to do here? They've got to get the clearance from the midfield for a start, I suppose.
Absolutely. Getting the ruck out of the middle would help, but also they stop coming along to these wings. And here we go again. Looks like this is what they're going to do. They're playing out in the wings. They need to come play more corridor football, I would have thought.
So a couple of bounces. Kicked the ball out. Nice mark. Strong mark taken by Alinta Fijo. Fijo, right half back, grandstand side, kicking to the airport end. Wanderers. Everyone missed the football there. Wanderers have got a couple of players here in the van, still favouring the scoreboard side. Wanderers just lacking a little bit of system there, waiting for everyone else, but a nice free kick and a warranted free kick. Wanderers have the football on the wing, grandstand side, going to the airport end. A scrubby kick off the boot. Wanderers at the drop of the football. Nice work, strong work there by Shakeen Desage. St Mary's been strong. Jacinta Friel. High tackle. Umpire picked it up quickly, which is what they've got to do. And that was Gemma Ikono. She goes by hand to a teammate. That teammate is Billy Byers. Byers runs her full measure, kicks inside forward 50, over the back. She can't make a mistake here. Janae Tipalura, and she doesn't make a mistake. She goes one way, then the other, gets it onto the right boot. Was she taken high?
I think so.
Rewarded with a free kick. She did the hard work, and Janae Tipalura has it between full-back and centre-half back. Well, it's not Tipalura, it is Tiffany Parriman. Parriman kicks just outside defensive 50. Onto the ball is Lei Yi Chow. She's been a live wire for Wanderers. Lei Chow, she has it again, smothered off the boot. That was courageous, that was clever, that was a lot of things good for St Mary's. St Mary's have the football going in. Gemma Ikono kicks the ball inside forward 50. Running hard at the footy is Tiffany Parriman. Parriman will get the ball out to a teammate. The teammate is this time Tipalura. Tipalura onto the right boot, kicks it to the rangy Maddie Whitehead. Whitehead will step outside defensive 50. The ball smothered off the boot. Should have gone back to take her kick there. Working hard is Kalicia Ross. Wanderers have the football, and there she is again, Lei Yi Chow, number 7 for Wanderers, doing a mighty job. But St Mary's have the football inside their forward 50. Within striking distance, the Saints once again. St Mary's leading 4-3-27. Wanderers 1 behind. 7 minutes into the second term.
Yep, so the game hasn't changed in this second half. As every time St Mary's get the ball, they're coming in board and trying to get it away from the wings. But Wanderers keep pushing it out there and not getting past halfway at the moment. Wanderers in this quarter at all. They haven't gone forward whatsoever.
Boundary umpire tosses the ball back inside forward 50 for St Mary's. She's been wonderful, Jacinta Friel. The defence of Wanderers working hard, the mucks. But again, the St Mary's players working hard. Nikita Long over the football. The ball is handed back to the field umpire. So between full back and centre half back. Still in well inside the forward line for St Mary's. Hung on to the Wanderers player. Just no system. Picked up that time Tashina Rankin. There's Tipalura. Yeah, that was a bit tough, but it looked fair to Tiffany Parriman. And the ball out of bounds on the full. And running to take her kick will be Billy Byers. Too far out to score, I would think, kicking into the breeze. St Mary's on the prowl in their forward line. I don't think that Wanderers have had the ball in their inside their forward 50 in this second term.
No, they haven't at all. They haven't even gone past halfway yet in this second term, so just keep getting stuck out on the wing.
Kicked off the ground, inside defensive 50. Running, there she is once again, is Jacinta Friel. She's a live wire, number 18 for St Mary's. Billy Byers, the ruckman, pushed dead set fair and square in the back, and she was rewarded with a free kick, and rightly so.
Absolutely.
Byers it is. Too far out to score, 70 metres from goal. Right half forward, St Mary's. She gets it inside 50, it'll be a good result. She does get it inside 50. It is a good result. And the ball is out of bounds, and probably not a bad result for Wanderers in that case, and the boundary umpire will toss the ball back in. 45 metres around from the St Mary's goal at right half forward. St Mary's in this second term, kicking to the McMillan's Road end at Marara.
It must be hot out there already, because there was very little movement from the forward line from the St Mary's then. When they had an opportunity, obviously wasn't going to go the distance, so I would have thought a bit more movement in the forward line.
Certainly, I think you're right there. Takesha Doherty-Cole.
Nice pick-up.
It was a very good pick-up. Not 15. Play on called the umpire, and rightly so. Picked up there that time by J.D. Delacour. She is a live wire. Mark dropped. That's just that little skill error for Wanderers. It's keeping St Mary's well and truly in this game. Shot on goal by Takesha Doherty-Cole, and the ball goes out of bounds.
She was just pulled off that ball just then, and she was about to kick it. She was lining it up, and a good tackle from Wanderers player just to push it wide.
Left full forward, the ball in the forward line, deep for St Mary's, tossed in by the boundary umpire. Over the back, picked up by Billy Byers. It's just dragged off the kick and will roll over the line. It won't roll over the line. Strong work that time by Tiffany Parryman. She's done well, but she might have been grabbed here and taken to the ground. Parryman.
I think everyone has stopped there for 30 seconds. Not sure everyone knew what was going on, but...
I still don't think they know what's going on.
I think it was a free off the ball, and she played on, and the umpire called her back.
Parryman it is. Nice long kick. Mark over the back, not paid. Play on called the umpire, off too many hands. Kicked up and under. Wanderers finally get it outside their defensive 50, but can't find the handle. Wanderers working hard, but St Mary's just competing. The St Mary's secondary play has been very, very good. Michelle Friel. Great tackle. And probably...
rewarded by the umpire?
Yeah, it certainly was. And Jacinta Friel kicks the ball inside forward 50. Working hard in defence is Shakeen Desage. And the free kick given away. And this is long. This will be... No, it's Rosalind Starr. Now, she's directly in front. Come on, nominate. You reckon?
No.
Distance?
No, the big girls have started to drift back now, so our own teammates don't believe that. About there, top of the goal square, I reckon this could end up.
So, Rosalind Starr.
Oh, she got onto that.
She did get onto that, and she got onto it beautifully. It's a goal.
That's the kick of the game so far.
My word, it is. So that's the fifth goal for St Mary's. They move on to 5-3-33. Wanderers one behind. And I suppose, Nick Danks, that the ball was so often, and it has been for such a long time, inside St Mary's forward line, sooner or later something was going to happen. We're 12 minutes in, and it's probably been 12 minutes inside their forward 50.
Absolutely. I think it's been about 11 minutes inside, right up the forward line there. So it's, St Mary's are controlling the ruck, then of course taking the ball out of the middle, and then it's just staying at that end of the ground. And Wanderers at the moment, the best they can do is push it out to the wings, and it stays out there. And a couple of minutes ago it was out of bounds in the fall, and that's where it's all got worse for them.
Meg D'Souza in ruck for Wanderers, and she's up against M. McNeil. A couple of rangy young women. Field umpire will toss it up to D'Souza to the left in the yellow. And she probably got that to D'Souza, knocks the ball to no one in particular. And this is where Wanderers are dominating. But it's that Lei Yi Chow for Wanderers doing everything to get her team forward. But to no avail. But this time it's Lei Yi Chow once again. And a free kick probably could have allowed the advantage there, because I think the free kick is going to Wanderers. And it is going to Wanderers in the centre of the ground. Kicked forward. No mark taken by Emily Forshaw, but this time her recovery is terrific. She gets the ball out to a teammate. That's Gemma Ikono. Ikono kicks forward. The defensive Wanderers will be tested once again. Picked up by St Mary's, kicked forward. Zoe McDowell. Terrible kick, but the whistle is gone. St Mary's player, Wanderers player was flattened. And I shouldn't laugh. She drags herself up, and it's Tashara Davin. She deserved that free kick.
Absolutely.
She worked hard for that. So Davin will kick from centre half back. Still seeing stars, and it's not even dark. So Davin kicks the ball. Sorry, Nick, kicks the ball favouring the grandstand side, but St Mary's will see the ball out of bounds. It will be a last touch. I'm not sure how they determine who touched that ball.
I'm not sure if the girls wear a GPS, but I'd like to see Laylee Chow's GPS. I think she's been on every part of the ground at some stage today.
She's run a marathon, I reckon. Yep, you're quite right. Ball tossed in by the boundary umpire. In front to Souza. Knocks the ball to her team's advantage. And there she goes, Emily Forshaw.
Nice hip and shoulder.
Yep. Dragged off the footy. And what's the call here? They just attack. Well, St Mary's are attacking the opponents, and who had the last touch? Lei Yi Chow. To Souza in ruck. Jacinta Friel knocks it to her team's advantage. Wanderers will clear onto the wing, grandstand side. Nice mark taken, Wanderers that time by Paige Holt. Holt goes forward. That's their deepest they've gone, but the mark taken in defence, Michelle Friel.
Got a great call from a teammate there. She knew she was heading back, go backwards for the flight of the ball, and her teammate let her know she was safe.
Here's Forshaw. Has kicked a goal. She's playing deep in defence. Wasn't a high tackle according to the umpire. Picked up by Wanderers, and that is just Jessica Lloyd into the centre of the ground, where St Mary's seem to be dominant in the centre of the ground. And again, they get the ball forward, and fortuitously, the mark is taken by Billy Byers, the ruckwoman, I should say. She's gone. She's had a bounce. She runs her full measure, has another bounce. Inside forward 50. Will have to have another bounce. She's run a fair way. Kicks on goal, and Billy Byers has snagged it. Lovely goal. Solo goal. Billy Byers, St Mary's, and St Mary's move on to 6-3-39. Wanderers one behind, 16 minutes into the second term.
It's not often you see a ruckman run off the mark and take two bounces and run into goals, is it?
well, we don't see it too often, but she's been quite impressive.
Absolutely. It was very impressive. She certainly very, very confident to run around the mark. Took a couple of bounces and then lined it up and put it through very comfortably. So it was a great goal.
She did back herself, and well done to Billy Byers. St Mary's ruckman.
The Wanderers need to change up a bit here now, just to settle the game down. At the moment, obviously, long way out of their control, but as we get closer to half time, but they're going to need some changes in the second half.
Byers ran back into the middle to take on D'Souza in the ruck, probably got a fingernail to it. Ball in dispute, and who is on the bottom of the pack? Emily Forshaw, St Mary's skipper, co-captain. D'Souza against Byers. It was quite comfortably won by Byers, but picked up by Shakeen Desage. Kicks forward. Well done. Wanderers player Lexi Cagney hasn't had much of the footy. Dragged off the football unceremoniously. Kalini Parnell.
I think the ball was in the pack there, but I don't think it was anywhere near those two.
No, I don't think so either. I think you're right. Strong work, Wanderers, to get the ball out. Taken high. No, she wasn't. Well, yes, she was.
Yep.
The first instinct was a high tackle, and the free kick was rewarded to Hannah Fosbrook. The siren goes. It is half time. St Mary's leading comfortably. They are 6-3-39. Wanderers one behind.
As it goes to half time here for the round 4 TIO action, we'll be back with you in the second half.
kick inside 50. Gee, that was a very creative mark there. And he plays on Joe Salmon. A quick kick to his full forward encoder, and that is very quick off the mark from St Mary's.
Mary's, so might put this one through as well, I'd say.
Runs around and he's happy with that. A little fist pump, and the first goal is on the board. St Mary's go 1 goal straight, 6 leading. Pint yet to score. Working it back forward again. Now with Chalmers, he's been one of the better players, then got off to Saudi. He went to goal, and that's a big kick. That's their first ever goal in the Men's Premier League here at their home ground, DXC Arena. So
Yeoman was an absolute standout for Southern Districts. Jackson Calder plays on.
You don't see that happen often.
No, you don't. You get tackled.
Gee, that's well across the face. Still might work for them. Silva, Yusuf. Gee, what a goal that was. He's just bananaed it through, kicked his second, and he's been on fire the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yusuf tackled. Ball comes out now, St Mary's to mop it up. Not a great one. Ciavarella, he snaps it round the corner and kicks a goal.
Yeah, well, opportunist goal there by Ciavarella. Another.
Line out. Rolls around, goes to full forward, and he's hit late, so a free kick.
Toa just ran in. It wasn't too underward, but it'll be downfield.
Is it to Ryan?
No, not sure. Yeah, it looks like Ryan.
And he's very happy with it. Kicks it, and that is through the big sticks.
For his third petition, that'll be icing on the cake.
Ciavarella snaps towards goal, and that, you would say, is the sealer. He's been very good tonight. That's his second, and he extends the margin out to 32 points.
Overalls there, ball spills, Wilson, overall calls for it, on his right boot, long handball over the top, back in front of Wilson, Hams missed the tackle, allowed Wilson to play on. And well done by the old fella there. Missed tackle there by Hams, unfortunately. He's a tough man to bring down, it's a big unit. Can't take. Picked up there by Adam Parry. Ball spills loose. Round the corner by the Nycliffe player. Geez, a chance to be touched, but they're not claiming it. That's a great goal. Great kick. Who was that? Lachlan Hooperts. Yep. Butler's getting the best of him. Well read there by Mensch. Slams it on his left boot. Ball goes, Eddie's lurking there. Guthrie's run on hard, out in front of Eddie. Eddie on his left, brings it round the corner beautifully. And right on cue before quarter time, Eddie kicks Palmerston's first goal.
Promo from Eddie Betts there.
Set of umpiring shots I've ever seen. Handball there, goes to the Palmerston player. He spins round, and all their hard work inside this 50 this quarter pays off. Keeps it in front, spins inboard. He's got Eddie leading hard at it, or just at his bootlaces there, couldn't grab it. Crowd scream ball. Varco, he's got his boot to it. Varco off the ground. He's the one who put that inside 50. And late in this second quarter, gets a much-needed goal for Palmerston. They're right back in this. Forks the call out the back. Farah on his favoured left foot. Sticks it out in front of Eddie. Eddie turns on his left boot. It's an open goal square. Eddie Betts, thank you very much. From the pocket, he kicks his third. He's looking alive, and Palmerston hit the front. The defensive zone. That's a beautiful kick down there. 60 metres out, taken by Bowles. He's on his natural left foot. He's going to go to the top of the square. He's almost gone better than that. That's cleared. Dropped there by Wilson. Scott can't pick up. Over the top to Wilson. Wilson on his left foot gets some purchase on it and puts it through. And that's a much-needed goal to Nycliffe. And we've got a game of footy on our hands. Yep. Ford gives it back to Mensch. Mensch on his favoured left foot, sends it inside 50, over the back there, dropped by Aunt Cox. Is that Eddie? Picked up by Eddie on the right boot. Thank you very much. Eddie Betts, that's your fifth, I believe. He's running on top of the ground in this last quarter. He gives it there to John O'Farah. John O'Farah gets a little one in board and hits up the hard-leading Aunt Cox. So I'd love a goal here, Palmerston. Hits it pretty well. Goal umpire doesn't move a whisker. Thank you, mother, for the Rabbits. Palmerston are up by 6 points.
Future captain of the club, I'd say.
Long flying contest and dragging that in. Judged it beautifully through the air was Mazzini. Trinity and Mazzini read it best. So he comes in. Didn't look that great off the boot. Through for a goal, and he kicked a little bit like a defender, but he got the score on the board. There was Carroll. Handball away. Fijo comes in off the wing. Gives it off to a running teammate who lines up from outside 50.
What a goal.
And what a cracking goal that is to start the quarter.
Matt Shannon.
And Matt Shannon come running through to Smith. Now the Crocs through Maney can centre it up again. On to Schwartz. Now it comes back to Brandon Rusker. Then on to Fijo. Hurried right foot kick to Matt Shannon, taken after disposal.
That's his
he
third.
Doesn't care, and he's kicked his third for the quarter. Advantage and downfield paid, and an all clear is given. Ellis Yeoman ended up taking that uncontested, and he picks out Bo Schwartz, who gives a handball off to a running teammate. And they're looking for Roy George, who takes a great mark out in front. He never looked like dropping that, did he?
No. Waratah's really slow to react as well through that corridor again.
Sits it up, gives it every opportunity. The fans like it from behind in the handstand. They've all got around him, and Roy George has scored. Thornton, by the looks of it, got his hands on it first. Bouncing ball. Roy George couldn't quite get it, but taps it onto open space. Then McManus has come down. Handball over the top, comes back inside to Roy George, who gets his second.
There it is, yeah.
Beautiful.
Here he goes, deep entry, looking for our boy Hope.
Yeah, and at the front was Magro, who just read it lovely. On his left, he can set it up, and can it curve back?
Oh, Kirby's got it.
I think Kirby's marked it. The goal umpire hasn't moved. The field umpires come in and will set it up.
And with the check side, he's a right footer. Yep, he's got it.
Yeah. Well,
get around him, boys.
Yeah, let's get in there and talk to him and tell him how Ned not playing today. He gives it off to his teammate, Marcus Waddy. Waddy has a lead, and that lead was from Magro. And Magro in a contested mark. Well, not a bad-looking kick from where we are. It's got the distance and the legs, and it goes through. And that is Magro's third for the day. Up in the air, Smith. Oh, was interfered with, let go, play on is the call, and then it just comes straight back to Schwartz. Right foot gets his fifth. To get his fifth.
We're back for the second half of the round 4 action of the TIO NTFL Women's Premier League competition. St Mary's versus Wanderers. My name's Nick Danks. My commentary partner this afternoon is Ian Butterworth. Ian, strong first half for St Mary's, currently got a 32-point lead.
Look, they have, and goal kickers for St Mary's just running through them, all singles. Forshaw, Takesha Doherty-Cole has one, Zoe McDowell, Chirala Parnell, Billy Byers, the ruck person, and Big Rosalind Starr in the forward line has a goal. So that's their 6 goals, and it's 6-3-39 as you mentioned. And they're languishing a little bit, Wanderers, but the dominance of the ruck, Billy Byers is just so strong in the ruck. And when it gets down back, if it does get down back, Emily Forshaw, she's everywhere. The captain of St Mary's, number 2, she's a tough nut down there. But Wanderers, I just don't know. And what's the coach going to do, Nick? Is it? I mean, it's not doom and gloom by any stretch of the imagination, but they just need to find something.
They need to get the ball out of the wings and start playing a bit of corridor football. Lady Chow has been everywhere in this ground and absolutely been a shining light for Wanderers. But there's been 3 great goals too from St Mary's. One from a distance, which I didn't think she'd get there. A very good snap from the pocket, and then the ruckman taking a couple of bounces and kicking truly as well. So St Mary's have taken their opportunities. Wanderers had a couple early in the first half, but didn't take the best of the opportunities then. And since then, I think once they got into their 50 in that second quarter, and so they're going to have to change and stop playing the footy on the wings and try a bit of corridor football. But of course, you've got to win the ruck to be able to do that well.
Well, you do, and you can't. You've got to make changes. You can't just go in with what you've got in the first half because it didn't work clearly.
And absolutely, throwing a few people around as well won't hurt, because the young girls in the back line for Wanderers have had a very, very heavy first half. Unlike the forward line, as a couple of those forward players probably haven't had a big one so far. But we'll see what happens here in the third quarter.
Field umpire still hasn't picked up the football. I don't know why. What's going on? Everyone's set. Siren's gone. Goal umpires are in place. Fast game's a good game. In ruck, you mentioned the ruck, and it's so important, isn't it? And certainly in the women's game, M. McNeil has been dominant in the ruck, as has Billy Byers, both St Mary's rucks.
Yeah, I think Wanderers won a couple of really early ones in the game, and then since then, St Mary's have taken over in the ruck and pretty much taken over in the game.
So this time it'll be M. McNeil for St Mary's, and she wins it and wins it comfortably. So there you go. They won the first chap. Takesha Doherty-Cole bangs the ball forward for St Mary's, running hard. Wanderers defensive area. Tashara Davin, she's been all right, Davin, but she's had plenty of work to do, as you mentioned, Nick Danks, because the ball's been in her defensive area for long periods of time. Kick on goal, and the scoring has been opened by St Mary's inside a half a minute of the third quarter. A minor score, but nonetheless it is in their forward 50, and it's ominous.
Yep, she's trying to snap that a little bit further around the corner. It took another half a step, and I think that would have been fine. But this is where Wanderers, again, coming out into the wings all the time, and it's not as if they've been dominant out there.
Parryman kicks the ball in, but only as far as St Mary's. St Mary's, poor kick off the boot. Picked up, running into some opposition, but gets the ball out nicely by hand. That's Ikono. Ball, get rid of it. And who is it? Who was the tackler? Lei Yi Chow. So she's run a marathon, and she's going to run another marathon in the second half. So Chow it is, inside defensive 50 Wanderers. She favours the grandstand side, kicks the ball, but St Mary's playing in front. And if there's a free kick coming, it'll always go to St Mary's playing in front. No free kick, give it to me, said the field umpire, and we'll have the ball up 65 metres around from the St Mary's goal at right half forward grandstand side.
Pretty strong breeze blowing to the airport end at the moment.
D'Souza probably got a fingernail to it. Forshaw dragged off the football. Field umpire probably waits a little bit too long to determine who's got a free kick. So that'll be D'Souza for Wanderers up against McNeil for St Mary's. Good body work, McNeil. Okono drags the ball out nicely. Goes to a teammate in Starr, a goal kicker for St Mary's. St Mary's have the football and they're back in action once again. Centre half forward. Gets it out to Okono. Okono onto the right boot. Inside to a leading Billy Byers, and Byers takes the mark. Come on, nominate this one, Nick Danks.
Yeah, I'm going to give her this. Oh, no, she's gone off the
She's
ball,
going to lay it off.
She did actually kick one, very good one earlier in the game. So the umpire says, no, let's see if you can go for it.
She wants to see if she can make the distance. So it's Billy Byers has the opportunity to become the only multiple goal scorer. St Mary's directly in front. The player on the mark, 30 metres from goal. Byers kicks on goal. Not bad off the boot. No mark taken in the goal square. Attempted kick off the ground. Some hard work done by Tipalura. Wanderers defence kicked off the ground once again. That time it was quite effective, and that Wanderers player deserves a free kick. She was dragged off the football, and Emily Forshaw knocked out of bounds, and the boundary umpire will toss the ball in.
Wanderers had a couple of opportunities there to knock that over for rush behind, but they kept it in play, and
it's always hard to know whether the umpire's going to say, no, you're under pressure or you weren't under pressure, and the free kick will be paid. So I suppose
absolutely,
discretion is the better part of valour under those circumstances. Ball tossed in by the boundary umpire. Right forward pocket for St Mary's. We'll have another one. Take two. Boundary umpire again. Tosses the ball in. That's better. Contest. D'Souza in front for Wanderers. Rucks and then Rose, but only gets the ball out as far as Billy Byers. Byers, has she got a left foot? No, she hasn't. She goes on the right foot, the check side kick. Hanging on there to Wanderers Zoe McDowell, but goodness gracious, that pair down there in defence is Tiffany Parryman and her teammate Janae Tipalura. If it weren't for that pair down there, Wanderers, I think St Mary's would be that far in front that it wouldn't matter. And here she Wanderers again in defence because Parryman and Tipalura aren't in the near vicinity. And to kick on goal, that looks like it might be Forshaw. It'll test her the distance. She'll have to kick from 40. Kicks it up and under.
Oh, nearly a nice mark.
No, it was nearly a nice mark over the back, and that was Takesha Doherty-Cole. Tipalura hovering. Ball comes out. Parryman going to knock it to Tipalura. No, she drags it back in. Parryman, that's dangerous. But it's dragged out of her hands. St Mary's have the football. But some good defensive work by the Muck-Mucks. Kick off the ground. Not effective. Second effort pretty good. D'Souza gets the ball out to a teammate in forward. Forward kicks the ball forward.
St Mary's pushed a few forward here, so there could be good work in the back, but here they go again.
Wanderers have the footy. Nice bounce. Chow dragged off the football, and she might get a free kick here. I reckon Chow's got the free kick. We'll see how she goes. She can run. Chow runs around the person on the mark, has a bounce, gets it out to a teammate. Bit of strength there by that Wanderers player, and that was Paige Holt. Chow in there, but the defence of St Mary's haven't had much to do. A bit of confusion. What's going on? We're all pointing in all directions. If the field umpire would get in there and
something off the ball, and I don't think it's Chow. It's
No, it's Lexi Cagney. So Cagney to kick on goal. She is left of centre. She'll be a right footer, but the person on the mark 35 metres from goal, so it's going to take a hoof. Cagney moves in very deliberately, ignores the lead. Cagney kicks on goal. Scrubber off the boot. St Mary's, it makes it easy for them to defend. They kick wide to the scoreboard side, just rolls outside defensive 50. Running hard at the football is Jacinta Friel. Friel's effort was terrific. Gets the ball out to a teammate, the skipper Forshaw. Forshaw at the bottom of the pack where she normally is, and she's been rewarded with a free kick.
Again, Wanderers falling over when they get into that 50 up there. They're just not clean with the marks and not making great decisions.
Can't kick the football if you are on the ground, and I think you're quite right. They tend to spend a little bit too much time on the ground, but nonetheless, that's their way. Paige Holt kicks the ball inside forward 50. So they've had a few forays inside forward 50, Wanderers. The ball comes out to the advantage of Shakeen Desage. In dispute. Wanderers have the footy. Big chance here. Pick the ball up cleanly. Run around. She does run around. Drops it red hot.
Yep.
And who is it? Emily Forshaw, the skipper. Not terribly clever. Puts her teammate under pressure. It's outside defensive 50. Picked up Wanderers. Ivana Shoba. And the mark taken by Wanderers by Kiona Desage. So Desage, on a very acute angle, kicks the ball to the top of the square. Ball on the ground, in dispute. Picked up the strength of Wanderers. Very good smother by St Mary's defence. Working hard, dragged off the footy. Wanderers picked it up and kicked and kicked. Unfortunately for Wanderers, missed to the near side. So that's the minor score. Wanderers trailing by 38 points. 6-4-40 St Mary's. Wanderers 2 behinds. 8.5 minutes into the first two. But they're giving as good as they get.
Absolutely.
Wanderers in this term.
Looking better. They tried to kick it with the outside of the right boot rather than the left foot, obviously. And, of course, it kept going right.
Wanderers over the footy. It's Chow. Of course it is. and that's Forshaw. Of course it is. So the two best players on the ground, pretty much the best players on the ground for Wanderers is Lei Yi Chow and Emily Forshaw for St Mary's. If they had a team of Chows and a team of Forshaws, they'd be sitting first and second rather than 8th and 9th on the ladder. We've got the last touch kick. Brought back into play by
nice mark.
Shoba. Was Paige Holt. Will it go inside forward 50 again? Not quite. Mark almost taken. Picked up Wanderers. Now they're inside forward 50. What can they do? Not a lot. Defensively, Saints have been very good.
Kicked that to a 3-1 though, but St Mary's going to come out of this one.
They will. They had the setup, didn't they? They'd set St Mary's handball in hope that time. That was Nikita Long. But they're inside forward 50 again, just by a millimetre, but nonetheless is at the right end of the ground. Chow, that's the first mistake that she's made all day. She just couldn't quite grab the football. She's got leather poisoning. I don't think that the ball will sit in her hand quite comfortably. Nice tackle, and a high tackle will be paid by the umpire. It looked okay, but it wasn't. And that'll be Kiona Desage. Desage too far out to score. Gives it everything. Nice kick off the boot. Running hard at the football, but it was 1 against 2, and St Mary's will clear and clear comfortably. And this player is pretty good. Gemma Ikono, she runs her full measure. Favours the grandstand wing. Ball on the ground, Long over the football. Bit of strength by Long. She gets the ball out. No, she doesn't. A good one-on-one battle, but Long again wins and probably taken high. Play on, called the umpire. Whistle went up, didn't pay the free kick. Wanderers have the football on the wing. Jade Delacour. Great tackle. Great tackle. And that was Zoe McDowell, who was flung over the boundary line. Boundary umpire says, I'll take it, and toss the ball in.
That was very much a don't argue there, Richard. Big pick up and throw then. It was
strength, wasn't it? A good show of strength. In front, Byers knocks the ball down to her team's advantage. Over the football is Tashara Davin. Ivana Shoba. Just not a lot of clear possession. Wanderers go forward. Error there by Keisha Ross. Well played. Wanderers, Lexi Cagney inside, kicks on goal and misses to the near side. But they're on the board, they're in their forward line. Yep. That's where they get the goals from. Wanderers 3 behind, trailing St Mary's 40. Ball brought back in, St Mary's out wide in the Lily Johnson direction. Johnson clever, kicks into an opposition player. Johnson again.
Wanderers will be happy with this second half of the third quarter. They've certainly been throwing forward more than they have for the rest of the game.
They've had the dominance inside their forward 50, and that's a nice mark taken, fortuitous, but it was a chicane Desage. Desage runs, has a bounce, kick on goal, will kick, and Desage kicks.
It's a post.
Oh, and hits the right-hand post. They're doing everything but scoring goals.
Absolutely. St Mary's will settle down, get back to playing the way they were in that first half of the second quarter.
Nice kick in. Byers takes the mark, chips it over, favouring the scoreboard side.
Better.
Bit of system now, you're quite right. That's what they needed. So some system inside the tram lines, but it's held up. And a strong mark taken by Wanderers. Gee, she looked like she encroached there, but the play on call might have come. There's our girl, Emily Forshaw, kicks the ball forward. Only player there is a Wanderers player, that's Parryman, but kicked off the ground cleverly. That's Jade Delacour. Delacour will win the race here, kicks off the ground and hits the post, I reckon.
Yep.
Bad miss by St Mary's there. Delacour did everything right, but the soccer kick off the ground went astray.
St Mary's had 3-on-1 then. She could have even taken the time to go and get that ball and would have had 3-on-1.
Ball brought back into play by Parryman. On the ground, in dispute. Nice steal by Wanderers defence. And Wanderers will clear their defensive 50, favouring the grandstand side. Over the back, and a lovely mark taken by Gemma Ikono. Ikono runs, picks out a teammate. Billy Byers one way, then the other, takes on the player, and quite rightly, the advantage was paid to Wanderers. Wanderers now through the middle of the ground. They've lifted Wanderers. They've still got a bit of work to do. Picked up that time by Tanika Rowe. Rowe gets it out to a teammate, but unfortunately she overruns it, and Mishi Friel gets the ball back for St Mary's and picks out a teammate and picks it up nicely. Lily Johnson. Johnson inside the centre square in the tram lines. Clears the centre circles. Running hard. Has a bounce just in time. Kicks on goal. And that time she's got it. And on the siren, Takesha Doherty-Cole kicks the goal. On the siren. And Wanderers had all the play, all the possession. Unfortunately, they couldn't manage a goal. And the last kick of the quarter, did they pay the goal?
I think, yes, it did. Yeah, it was right.
Because the ball was in the air, wasn't it? So It is 7-5-47 to 4 behind. So it is St Mary's leading by 43 points.
And we're back shortly with the final quarter of this TIO NTFL Women's Premier League competition, St Mary's versus Wanderers.
To the left of your radio they go.
Wow, what a goal to start the game.
Beautiful. Goes for home and has nailed an absolute rip from the pocket, and he's nicked an absolute ripper.
We're back for round 4 action of the TIO NTFL Women's Premier League competition. St Mary's versus Wanderers. I'm Nick Danks, my commentary partner this afternoon, Ian Butterworth. Ian, strong lead for St Mary's, currently 43 points up, but a better quarter for Wanderers overall. Just couldn't get a goal.
Much better quarter, and they were all dressed up, but they had nowhere to go. I reckon they had probably 80% of the ball inside their forward 50 in that third term, and they scored 3 behinds, whereas Saints got the ball rolling toward the end of the quarter, and just before the siren, Takesha Doherty-Cole kicked her second goal, and they scored the only goal for the quarter.
The umpires will be letting go today because it's umpires round, CFSC gear umpiring round, recognising the commitment and efforts that the NTFL umpires put in each week. As we know, Ian, without the umpires we can't have a game of football, but they have let the game play on today.
They have indeed, and I think they've done a pretty good job generally. So we've got in ruck Nikita Kearney for Wanderers. Wanderers kicking to the airport end at Marara. And she'll be up against the one with the bandage on her leg, M. McNeil. McNeil's been dominant in the ruck. Kearney hasn't done much of the ruck work. That's fallen to Meg D'Souza. But it's Kearney in ruck. Field umpire tosses the ball in the air, and Kearney won it quite comfortably. Gets the ball down to her teammate in Shakan Desage. Desage kicks it forward, inside forward 50 once again. The St Mary's defence will be tested once again. Picked up beautifully that time by Jasmine Forward, and she kicks on goal, but unfortunately for Forward, she misses to the near side. But they're on the board again, they're in their forward line again. It almost mirrors that of the third term.
That was their best movement in the game, without a doubt. That out of the ruck, a couple of moves, and very unlucky, not a skill or a big one then.
I agree with that. Ball kicked out, no mark paid. Picked up by Jacinta Friel, but she loses possession and gets it out to Kearney. But the mark taken by the player, I reckon almost the player of the match, Emily Forshaw, the skipper for St Mary's. Forshaw gets the ball outside their defensive 50, running their full measure. St Mary's get the ball up, favouring the grandstand wing. Some solid defence over the top, goes long. No free kick paid. She probably didn't. She did well, but and kept out of her back. Kicked off the ground cleverly. Wanderers, no mark paid. M. McNeil, strong play. Backed herself that time. Wanderers, good effort. Lost possession to Emily Forshaw. Forshaw couldn't get rid of it. Ball thrown out of a scrimmage, and Jasmine Forward just favouring Wanderers in their forward line. Be tossed in by the boundary umpire, 50 metres away from the Wanderers' goal.
Jasmine Forward there coming out, rubbing the left side of her chin, so I think she's got a knock on the corner there that the umpire was blindsided, but she certainly felt that and will feel it tomorrow.
Oh, so never mind. Oh, clever by McNeil. She handball between her legs, picked up Wanderers. They go forward. Forward once again goes forward. Running hard after the footy is Keisha Ross. Ross keeps the ball in her vision, picks it up nicely, kicks the ball out and goes to Takesha Doherty-Cole. And St Mary's this time on the outer, Doherty-Cole, and they go to another very good play, Gemma Ikono for St Mary's. But she's beaten pointlessly that time. Wanderers will knock the ball forward. They're much, much better, Wanderers, showing something after half time, but just can't get the score on the board. Wanderers using the body, keeping the body in front. Somehow the St Mary's player extract themselves, and the big mark taken by Nikita Long. Long too far out to score. Inside her forward line, kicks the ball short. Can go into Billy Byers, but she took on a couple of Wanderers players, and she lost possession, which wasn't terribly clever. Tipalura has the footy, gets it out nicely by hand to no one in particular, but a kick off the ground Wanderers. They go to a player under Jessica Lloyd. Lloyd is picked up and tackled, and she's tackled, and Kalicia Ross for St Mary's. Clever work.
Yeah, we did say at the start of the at half time that the back 6 or so for St Mary's. We're going to get very tired, but it's turned around in the second half, and they're getting all the work because Wanderers are staying forward all the time.
They are, and you're quite right, because there was only one goal kicked in that third term, and that was just about on the siren, wasn't it, by St Mary's? So the ball tossed in. St Mary's in front. Takesha Doherty-Cole has the basketball experience, so her leap was well timed. In dispute in the middle of the ground. Chicane Desage kicks it forward. Play on called the umpire. Kicked off the ground. No kicking in danger. Play on once again. Picked up nicely by Wanderers. Nothing happening. Mia Bridus. Not quite sure, but there's a free kick paid.
There's a couple of loose girls up there for Wanderers. Here we go.
And the mark taken. You're quite right. Picked up, and a nice mark taken directly in front. Nikita Carney. And Carney, a rangy player, will kick on goal directly in front. Person on the mark, 25 metres from goal. Carney kicks on goal, and she's nailed it. Well done to Nikita Carney.
Well,
she's got the goal for Wanderers, the one that perhaps they were not robbed of in that third term, but deserved in that third term. They've had all the play in the final term, and Carney has nailed the first goal for her team, Wanderers. Wanderers won 5-11, but still trailing by 36 points.
The team looked pretty confident then. They all went right back onto the goal line. There was no one short. They were pretty confident she was going to make the distance, and did it pretty easily in the end. And a nice left-footer shot. And it's great to see Wanderers on the board, because they did have some chances in that third quarter.
That was a good kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice kick.
Sailed nicely off the boot. Nikita Carney. Back in the middle. Billy Byers. Won it nicely. But only Wanderers have worked out the ruck. They know that Byers is probably going to win, so they're rucking to her. Tipalura knocks the ball forward. Ikono has it for St Mary's. Goes forward to centre half forward. Running hard at the football and can't find the handle is Takesha Doherty-Cole, the only multiple goal scorer in the game. Doherty-Cole gets it, kicks it forward. Mark couldn't be taken by Long. It's not Long, out of bounds, and it's Rosalind Starr, and the ball is out of bounds. Right full forward for St Mary's. So the St Mary's have got the ball, from their point of view, in the correct end of the ground.
Yeah, it's been a while, but Byers did well then. She came out of the ruck, won the ruck, and then went back after the ball herself, because the runners didn't get there. Wanderers sorted it out, but managed to push the ball forward and got it. Now it's come all the way forward, of course, into their pocket.
So here it'll be Byers, and she's up against Lloyd. Byers works her way to the front, knocks it down to her team's advantage. Tipalura taken high. She gets kicked under pressure. Tipalura kicks across the face of goal. Defensively, that is. St Mary's have it. Kick it up and under. Is it 15 metres? It is 15 metres, and a nice strong mark and a courageous mark taken by Virginia Cardona. Cardona has the footy. Kicks it outside defensive 50. Picks up a teammate there in Alinta Fijo. Fijo favouring the grandstand side at Marara. Going to the airport end. Fijo has a bounce after running a metre. Perhaps it didn't work too well for her, but Fijo nicely. Nice kick. Looking for a teammate. Handballed away, or handed away, but picked up by St Mary's, the strong Kalicia Ross. The Wanderers once again inside, almost inside their forward 50. Picked up defensively Michelle Friel. Friel gets it to... and she ran too far.
Tackle.
Emily Forshaw, the first mistake she's made all game. She had a little bit of white line fever there. I think she was looking at goal, but it was a terrific tackle. Well done. And the ball is Lei Yi Chow. Chow will run her full measure. Has a bounce. Knocked off the footy, unfortunately for her. But picked up. She had a teammate hovering. And Shakeen Desage. Desage kicks forward for Wanderers. 2-on-1. Ball to the advantage of St Mary's. Have they got the pace? No one's got pace. I think they're all a little bit weary. Probably looks like a high tackle in there. Missy Friel. Friel gets the football out defensively. Not 15. Play on called the umpire. Correctly so. Big player there is Maddie Whitehead.
Umpire's letting it go again.
There's nothing in there, though, was there? So
there wasn't.
You've got to let it go. That's a mark, a clear mark that time by Olympia Milani. Milani, not quite sure what to do. Onto the left foot. Not a bad kick under the circumstances. A very good kick under the circumstances. And picks up Alinta Fijo. Fijo too far out to score. Kicks in hope. And Ikono is there. The player puts on pressure. Paige Holt. Holt has the football. She's hard to tackle. And she got the ball out. Holt goes in once again. St Mary's defence have got to work overtime. In dispute. Over the back is Emily Forshaw. Forshaw nicely to Billy Byers. Byers takes the mark, hits the ground running. Nice kick forward. Can't find a teammate out there, but clever work by Jade Delacour. Delacour gets it wider out. Delacour sells the dummy. Picked up by Takesha Doherty-Cole. Kicks inside forward 50 and a strong mark. Got a player loose over the back. Delacour kicks on goal, and Delacour has nailed it. That's the sealer. I reckon that's the sealer for the game. If they weren't going to win, they will now. 8-5-53 St Mary's, Wanderers 1-5-11, and just persistence.
Absolutely. Lily Johnson back there in the back line. St Wanderers were out there. They had a lady loose, and Lily Johnson threw a body into it and stopped it up. The umpires let it play, and St Mary's managed to come away with it very nicely, but well done to Lily Johnson in the back line then.
And just reward for J.D. Delacour too, who's been a strong performer for St Mary's throughout the whole game. Clever little kick over the top as we watch on replay, and Delacour cool, calm as you like.
Absolutely. There's a couple of good runners out there. They've done some miles, a few of them.
Indeed they have. Back in the middle. Our girl Billy gets the left hand to it. Knocks the ball still in the centre circles. Kicked off the ground. Not sure by who. Ikono it was. She's been a good player. Kicked off the ground by Maddie Whitehead for Wanderers. And again, running hard. She's been very good in coming toward the end of the game. Olympia Milani. Strong player in defence for Wanderers.
As the lights come on here at TIO, getting ready for, of course, the men's Premier League game after this one.
Tipalura hovering. St Mary's have the footy, have everything under control. 11.5 minutes into the final term. And there we go again. Emily Forshaw runs her full measure, kicks over the centre of the square. Billy Byers takes a mark. She's a likely looking player, isn't she? Needs a bit of meat on the bones, but she goes all right. But holding the player, no free kick paid by the umpire. St Mary's have it, straightens up. Billy goes for goal and gets another one. Billy Byers, she's been terrific. She's a multiple goal scorer, together with Takesha Doherty-Cole. Byers has 2, Doherty-Cole has 2. And St Mary's just march on.
They look very good, St Mary's, playing corridor football. Again, that was what they did, and 4 or 5 goals they've scored tonight or this afternoon. It's all come through corridor football, and it's been great to see.
What's been an advantage too is the ruck in Billy Byers, and she's been well supported by M. McNeil. She gives it a chop out, so once they knock the ball down, it's been, you're quite right, they've ruled the corridor.
Yes, they have. That may be what's forcing Wanderers into the wings, but the only time Wanderers looked really impressive tonight was when they took it down the corridor.
Yep. And so now we've got M. McNeil in ruck for St Mary's, number 6 on the right hand side. And she'll be up against Maddie Whitehead, who's probably the tallest player on the field, picked up by Takesha Doherty-Cole. Doherty-Cole has got 3 to beat and pushes her way through. Kicked over the head.
bit of lairising.
It was a bit of lairising, but it's nice, and no one. I'm the only one that sort of reacted to it, I think. Picked up by St Mary's, just back with the centre square of the centre circles. Running her full measure is that girl again. She runs her full. Billy, and Billy kicks it forward to Ikono, and Ikono, who's been a very good performer for St Mary's, has a chance to kick a goal. She's directly in front, player on the mark about 20 metres from goal.
Kept her eyes down then, didn't try and blaze away, and saw her with the lead up and hit her right on the chest.
Ikono kicks on goal, and I reckon that's a poster.
So I think it's the fourth one today.
Yep. So St Mary's, the minor score, they go to 9-6-60, leading Wanderers 1-5-11, 13 coming up 14 minutes into the final term. Ball kicked in nicely. Darwin takes the mark. Right back pocket for Wanderers. Inside defensive 50. Darwin, nice kick off the boot. Outside defensive 50. Picks up a teammate. Favouring the grandstand side. Wobbly kick off the boot. But Wanderers have it. A run down the grandstand wing. It held up and held up nicely. There she is, Emily Forshaw. She's just about worn the leather off her boots. Kicks the ball forward. Ivana Shoba. She's been okay in defence for Wanderers. Didn't quite know what to do, how to get rid of it, because Kalicia Ross picked up Wanderers. Takeshi Rowe. St Mary's. J. Lai Weatherall Fitz. Oh, the second attempt was good. Long. Goes forward. Nice mark. Emily McNeil. McNeil, big kick. Looking for Byers. Byers doesn't let her down. Runs inside forward 50. Has a player forward. Ikono it is. Ikono will run into an open goal and St Mary's will kick another one.
Very good passes of play today from both sides, but that was very special by St Mary's there. They broke away in the centre and a couple of nice passes, and Wanderers, of course, getting a bit tired, obviously, towards the end of the game, but
as
nice
the game's worn on, Billy Byers has been fantastic, hasn't she?
Yeah, what do they say? They don't get any shorter at the end of the game.
No, those long legs, they stay the same length, don't they? And Ikono, who's been a very good player, and they get their 10th. 10-6-66. Wanderers 1-5-11. Closing in on full time. 16 minutes into the final term. There's the marathon lady there with her backside pointing at us. Wanderers Lei Yi Chow. Chow gets into the midfield. St Mary's, Georgia Harris. Tipalura, strong player. Famous football name in the top end football. Tackled off the ball and good free kick. Hit the ground running. Play on called the umpire, correctly so. Kicks inside forward 50 and there's this time it's another rangy player. It's Parnell. Parnell kicks on goal and nails another one.
Straight over the goal umpire's head. Very, very confident she ran in then, and I think Wanderers have obviously come to a stop now.
Yeah, they've hit the brick wall, haven't they? But they've been. I mean, the scoreboard doesn't necessarily reflect that. 11-6-72 to 1-5-11, but they play the game in terrific spirit, but easy as you like. Inside forward 50. And they've just got a little bit of height, St Mary's. If it's not Billy, it is Parnell. And she kicks her second. 17.5 minutes in.
Yeah, there's been some passages of play the Wanderers will be very happy with in this. Certainly in the third quarter. They very unlucky not to put 2 or 3 on the board, but they'll be very happy and give them something to work with for the rest of the season.
Last passage of play. McNeil comfortably. St Mary's working the ball forward. There's Billy. She's just pretty tired too. She just put a fingernail out onto that. And the ball in dispute. Picked up by Chow. Chow. She's the marathon lady. She's got it again. Taken high. Surely she's taken high. And she is rewarded with the free kick at right half back, slightly favouring the grandstand side. Wanderers. Didn't look good off the boot. It might be worked to their advantage. Your last touch here. As we close in on full time. 72 plays 11.
Umpire lost the ruckman then.
Yeah. McNeil it is. Gets the ball in the buyer's direction. Goes to Johnson. Johnson gets the ball out to Georgia Harris. It's pinched by Wanderers. Wanderers go forward only as far as Jasmine Bonson. Harris in the action again. Picked up Wanderers. Mark not taken at that time. Wanderers working the ball inside their forward 50, but some strong defensive work, particularly by Kalisha Ross. Gets the ball out to the lady Emily Forshaw, and Forshaw did not get a possession at the end, but it's a nice win. 11-6-72 to 1-5-11. Wanderers over, sorry, St Mary's over Wanderers, but the second half, you can't say it belonged to Wanderers, Nick, but certainly Wanderers' second half was much, much better than their first half. It looked like it was going to be a cricket score.
Absolutely, though. From the start of the third quarter up until about 5 minutes into the final quarter, Wanderers were playing some really lovely football. But the big guys just got involved with the runners went on top for St Mary's. Got a couple at the end of the game, which normally happens when scores are similar to that, is that the team in front will run on top of the ground a bit heavier, and that's exactly what happened there, is that St Mary's have come away with a very nice 61-point victory.
And it's interesting, St Mary's, they hadn't won a game up until this is round 4. It's early days,
yep.
But they've got some system, and this will give them some confidence, and there's nothing like winning form, is there?
Absolutely not, and I'm pretty sure the Wanderers coaching team will show that goal. They did get it. A couple of movements they did early in that fourth quarter where they came out of the middle from the ruck and played the corridor football. And when you're kicking away some of the young girls to do it who have just started football, the idea is to try not to use so much ground. It's a bit probably like golf. The easiest way is straight down the middle, and that's what they need to do, is try and do it. And St Mary's, right from the word go, played that. They played the middle of the ground very, very well.
They dominated the middle of the ground, didn't they? M. McNeil in the ruck and Billy Byers in the ruck were just very, very good. Certainly D'Souza tried hard in the ruck for Wanderers, but they just couldn't overcome Byers and McNeil. They had 8 goal scorers at the end of the day, St Mary, so they evenly, they had an even spread, of course, if they've got 8 goals and they only kicked 11 for the game. Pretty impressive win, Wanderers. I don't think that they're far off a win. They've just got to get some system going. Don't worry about the edges, work through the middle.
Absolutely. Lei Chow, they find a position for her where they've got the ball. I understand she went back a lot because that's where the ball was, and then when she managed to go forward, they looked a lot better as well. So if they can settle that down, she's going to be great.
All they need is 3 of them, one in the forward line, one in the midfield, and one down back, and they'd be right. She was fantastic.
As you always do with those players, there's just that one player aside going, I wonder if they've got a family member or something. But she played really, really well. And a couple of the Wanderers girls were very impressive as well. But St Mary's just had a couple of more winners.
They certainly did.
It's been a pleasure to host you this evening. My name's Nick Danks. I was joined this afternoon by Ian Butterworth. Stay tuned. Up next, we've got St Mary's versus Wanderers in the Men's Premier League action. Catch you next time.